We're going to spend the next few minutes talking about the brain and explaining how it takes in information. If you can understand how the brain works, you can become a stronger learner. We'll start by talking about the four parts of your brain. This down here is called your reptilian brain, and this is in charge of all your bodily functions. So, more of your unconscious and your conscious, all the things that are happening that you're not even thinking about. So, your breathing in and out is a good example. This next part here is called your amygdala or your lizard brain. This is the oldest part of your brain, and it has serves the number one function of your brain, which is to keep you alive. So, if there's something that feels kind of surprising or unexpected, or maybe something you've never experienced before, your amygdala might signal the fight or flight response. So, you may feel like, "Oh, I need to go to the bathroom or go in the hallway because your amygdala is telling you to flight." But really, those are the times where the more you practice it, the more comfortable you get with, say, speaking in front of the class, and then you're less likely to signal your amygdala. The next part, your limbic system, here is where all of your emotions are stored. And so this is if you've seen the Disney movie Inside Out, that's a really good example of how you can have joy and anger and all those things being signaled out of your limbic system. Now, up here is the neocortex, and this is that gray matter, and this is the part of your brain that you continue to grow as you learn new things, and you can keep growing and developing that part of your brain. And this is where all the critical thinking and creative thought, that higher level thinking takes place. But in order for you to experience that learning, you have to feel safe. You have to go through your limbic system. So that's why your teachers spend time at the beginning of the year talking about commitments and safety and respecting and being considerate of your classmates, so that everybody has the opportunity to be working out of their neocortex and feels comfortable learning. So it's important when we're learning that we have both that high trust and low stress, where people feel safe and they feel safe to ask questions and learn through mistakes and try new things, so that they can be getting into that neocortex. Also, then we're going to talk about information processing. So your brain it goes through three stages. And the first one is input, where there's so many stimulus that's happening all around us all the time that if you want to learn something new, you got to call attention to it, and you got to direct your brain and say, this is what I'm focusing on. This is what I'm paying attention to. So you have to first of all decide input, what it is that you're going to allow to go into your brain. You're going to focus on it. Then you have an elaboration period where you have about, depending on your age, 12 to 15 minutes where your brain can absorb or take in new information. And that goes into your short-term memory. And then after you hit that 15 minute, sometimes a little bit less depending on your age, you need to give your brain a chance to process that, or it cycles down and it has to apply that information and think about that before it can take in any more information. And if how it works with your brain is, whatever information you gathered, if you don't apply that new knowledge within 24 to 48 hours or revisit it, then it won't move into your long-term memory, and you would have to revisit it again and again before you actually it becomes stored in your brain. So your teachers use this language and this instructional framework. In other words, this is how they're going to deliver. This is how they're going to help organize their classes, and how they organize your activities and lessons for the day are around these parts, and we call them ignite, chunk, chew, and review. So the ignite is that input, a calling and attention. That chunk is when you're taking in new information. You have that 12 to 15 minute time frame, and then you have that application, or you need to chew and process and think about it. And then to get it to your long term, you have to review the information. So let me just go into a little bit more detail about these components. So to ignite or call attention, to focus on what it is that you want to learn, your teachers help um, introduce some strategies for you to do that. And that might be writing your learning goal for the day. Maybe it's pulling up your unit guide and looking at the goal for the day. Teachers may ask you to a prompt to talk about or write about or think about before you start class. Oftentimes, your teachers will refer to what you've already learned about this content or skill or idea, that you're pulling up what you already know so you have something to connect it to in your brain. It might be looking at pictures or reading a short passage or watching a short video. So this oftentimes happens right at the start of class, and that's why that time in class is really, really important when your teacher is just getting class started and they're going to call attention so that your brain knows what it is that you're focusing on for that class. Then when your teachers help chunk the information for you, is that feeds your brain information in a manageable way. And oftentimes this is called teacher seminar, or where teachers give direct instruction. It could also be done through a screencast or a Loom video. It could also be watching a certain clips or videos for a certain amount of time. It could even be reading something where you're taking in new information that's new to you. And your teachers, again, will help you do that in manageable pieces where they break it up. And that after they shared some new information, they're going to give you time to chew on it or some think time. Because if you don't give your brain that time to process or to think about what it is that you just learned, chances are that it's not going to stick. It's not going to go into that. It's not going to grow that gray matter. So in your think time, that there's so many different pathways to help you think and process and chew on information, whether it's drawing or writing or turning and talking to somebody next to you. But you're just thinking through, how is this similar or different to what I already know? Or how does this one small thing we're learning today connect to all the other parts that we've learned along the way? What connections do I have to what I'm learning? What experiences have I had? So all of these things are just ways to help you think through new information. So some strategies for you as a learner for chewing might be summarizing, by making a drawing or writing a summary, or maybe even turning to your partner and trying to summarize what you heard or what you've learned. Taking notes helps you process. Going back and rereading and reviewing information. And when your teacher gives you assignments to work on in class, that's because this is your chew time. They've created something that helps you think about what you've learned. So those assignments are really important to help your brain process this information. Finally, then, if you really want something to stick, to get to that long-term memory, to grow that gray matter, you have to review it. You have to practice it. So this practice time, this review time, has to happen more than once in the learning process. So that's why your teachers give you practice problems. They have you take notes so that you can review, you can refer back to it. We have review guides. We have our unit guides. Even doing your daily reflections in your unit guides. Stopping at the end of the class and thinking about, what is it that I learned? Did I meet my goal today? What feedback do I need to seek from my teacher? Those are all opportunities to review the information. And of course, the other traditional ones are Quizlets, Kahoots, any exercises that reviews the information. So now that you've heard about our 4 parts, Ignite, Chunk, Chew, Review, we have a fun activity for you to try out and see if you can share information and showing your understanding of how the brain processes information. Have fun, everyone. Good luck. Thanks for watching.